Morning, boys and girls. Today is the day we're going to be installing some cheap DIY onboard air on the Bronco. So stay tuned. All right, so here's the dealio. It's going to go in the same spot as the JCR mount for the ARB dual compressor, but we're going to be using our Smittybuilt 2781. I did get some custom brackets made by my buddy Kevin at his shop. I already have the foot of it installed here. As you can see, it's the same as the JCR. It just goes down and mounts under one of the strut tower mounts. And then this plate over here is going to be mounting inside here and getting bolted on. But we're going to mount our compressor to it first. And you can see an air line here, but that's just because I tried to figure where I was going to run my air line to. So we're going to show you how to switch this all and do all the electrical. It's actually quite simple. And I ran the air line down here, and I have a bracket made. It's not in right now, but it's going to be mounted right here with an ARB quick chuck. And we'll take you through that whole thing. So I'll be able to switch it on, in this case, aux 2. And turn the compressor on. I won't have to open the hood, and I'll be able to just connect my air up system for my tires. So that's the plan. So here we are back in the garage. This is our Smittybuilt with our pressure switch installed. I did a video on how to do that, and if I can figure it out, I'll put a link somewhere up here, down here, wherever it ends up. I'm not a YouTuber really. So here we go. What we did is we took the mounts that are normally underneath, and it's just these little Allen key bolts that are there, and you can undo them. You can kind of rotate these two brackets around where you want them. Our compressor in this case is going to be sitting this way. So if we look at electrical, we got our power coming into our compressor. Normally it was just your negative and positive terminals on your battery with the clamps. So the negative is cut quite a bit shorter, because my ground location is quite close to where the compressor is mounted. I'll show you that in the truck later. And if we follow our power switch, it goes all the way back to the relay. Okay, so we're going to be installing a relay. This is a 6080 automotive 5-pin relay. Actually, really simple setup. Okay, so I'll try to run you through it. This is battery. Okay, I put a 40 amp fuse. Smittybuilt 2781 has a maximum amp draw of 45. So I was doing my my research a bit, and you want your fuse to be the weakest thing in the circuit, and the 45 is going to be a very short-lived thing when the compressor kicks on. So it shouldn't be burning out the fuse. This can always be changed later, but you want the run between the battery and the fuse to be as short as possible, because technically that is not going to be cutting off if that fuse blows. So this could still catch fire and melt if there's an electrical problem. So you want that as short as possible. So we're from our battery to our fuse, and it goes to our relay. So these 5-pin automotive relays are all pretty much the same. You're going to have this one that we have our power going into is the number 30. Up top here we have 87. That's going out to our compressor. Over here, we're going to have the 85. That's going to be grounding our switch, our aux 2 switch. And the 86 here is going to be our switch. So we're going to tap into the wiring under hood for that aux switch number 2. We are not using the 87A relay terminal. So I think that explains the electrical. I'll explain the air part next. All right, so what we have here for the air part, obviously our air hose is going to be coming out of the compressor. It's going to be running down in front of the Bronco to the bumper. I have a little bracket here that's going to be installed under the bumper in the little opening where my fog light is. It's going to be recessed. To that, I'm going to have my ARB quick chuck here with a dust cap. This thing's awesome. The quality is amazing. And that's going to get sandwiched in between on the bracket by a 90 degree here, which is going to come down to our air hose from our compressor. That's going to be coming down into it here. I put this boot that I had off of one of the air hoses that I cut up to use as my air up system, just to kind of give it a little extra protection down there where it's a little bit exposed. So that's it. I'm going to be putting all this together. We're going to get the compressor mounted to the plate, and we're going to go install that on the Bronco. and then we'll run through the wiring really quickly. So before I get this mounted up, just to give you some details on this, these are the original rubber gaskets that were on top, or rubber, bumpers or washers, if you will. And there was quite a bit thicker one underneath it, the other side of the plate, before it was mounted to the original base plate with the rubber feet. If I kept the length of rubber here, it was going to be way too high. So there is limited space under the Bronco, especially with this pressure switch installation. But by just using some rubber grommets here, when it's mounted to the plate, it actually sits at the right height and the hood does not contact it. So we're going to get this mounted to the plate and we'll go out to the Bronco and put it in. All right guys, so here we go. Compressor's installed. It's good and sturdy. It has a little bit of movement to it, which is actually kind of a good thing. So you can see it's just bolted in here and the side. And you got the foot right there. It was actually easier to get to the furthermost bolt from the other side here to hold it underneath. But it was actually quite a simple install. So now we're going to just run you through the wiring. First things first, right here, I removed this bolt from this ground wire. So we're just going to connect our ground here. And then we're going to run our power along the back there. I'll zip tie it all at the end. But as you can see right here, we got our ground for our switch that's already set up. The aux 2 is already set up, so we're just going to be plugging those into the terminals we need, and we're going to come connect to our battery here, and that's all she wrote. It was pretty simple. So I'll get that all connected and then run you through it again so you can see it visually. All right, here we go. So the ground is connected, power wires run across. We got our relay connected here. So, like I explained earlier, sorry about that. You got your ground going to 85, your switch going to 86. Power comes back through. It's fused. It's there. Presently, there's no end on this, so it's not capped. So when I flip switch 2, it's going to be constantly on for the moment. There we go. Buttoned up nice, and then we're going to work on passing our air hose down to the bottom. All right, so we got everything buttoned down. Wire loomed, run to the compressor. Everything's great, and guess what? I'm going to tuck this back in a sec, but I just ran it down here, and that hose is long enough. So it's going to get put together here, and I will do the install and then show you guys the final product. There we go. Final product of install. Look at that sweetness. How discreet is that? All right, next up, test it out. All right, kids, here we go. I'll try this out. Check it out. All right. We're not going to start the car or anything. I'm not going to use this very long. So here we go. Oh, we just heard her turn on. Not opening the hood at all. I'm just using this because I don't feel like taking out my 4-hose air up system. So here we go. One-handed. There we go. This thing's leaking. All right, sorry guys, it connected to CarPlay, but as you can see, you can use the air up, and it's super discreet. I can just unplug it after. Boom. We're all good. It's capped, so nothing is going to get in that. And a super clean install. And the hose is just up there. So that's all she wrote. So guys, Axeman out. I hope you enjoyed this video. I think it's a pretty good install. A lot cheaper than putting in a dual ARB, and it's gonna help a few people out, I hope. So until next time, take care. Like the video.